Imagine standing in the streets with empty hands, yet every passerby bows, every merchant respects your word, every rival fears your strategy. What is the secret? It is the ruthless understanding that poverty is only real when you accept it as truth. Today I will teach you how to project power, wield influence, and appear invincible, even when you own nothing. By the end, you will never again think yourself poor. In the world of men, the measurement of a man is not in the coins he carries, but in the command he exerts over himself and others. Today, we confront a truth most refuse to face. Material poverty is insignificant compared to the poverty of the mind. The world will judge you, enemies will attack, and fortune may abandon you, but your perception, strategy, and self-mastery are always within your grasp. In every society, in every court, in every marketplace, men judge not by truth, but by appearances. They judge the man who is clever, the man who walks with purpose, the man whose presence commands attention. To the eyes of the world, power is often mistaken for wealth, and wealth for virtue. Yet Machiavelli reminds us that the world does not care for fairness, nor does it bow to reality, it bows to perception. A man may have empty pockets and no estates, yet if he carries himself with dignity, with confidence, and with the unmistakable aura of authority, the world will treat him as one of consequence. Consider this. Two men stand before a crowd. One is clothed in finery, yet his posture is weak, his gaze uncertain, his voice timid. The other wears threadbare garments, his hands calloused, yet he moves with precision, speaks with clarity, and carries a calm, commanding presence. Who will the crowd respect? Who will the crowd follow? Without question, the second. For men do not follow the money, they follow the energy, the projection, the invisible force that signals competence and influence. It is a subtle yet brutal truth. In the eyes of men, perception shapes reality more than circumstance ever will. Now let us be honest. Life will strip you of possessions. Fortune is a capricious mistress, indifferent to loyalty, effort, or merit. Today you may dine in comfort, tomorrow you may beg in the streets. Yet, Machiavelli teaches us that poverty is not an external condition but a state of the mind. The man who believes himself powerless, who bows to circumstance, who cowers beneath the weight of his lack, is truly poor. He may own gold, land, or influence, yet if his mind is weak, if his presence is timid, if his posture is uncertain, he is a man without power. Conversely, the man with nothing in his hands, who walks with his head held high, who speaks with purpose, who scans the world with alertness and cunning, is wealthy beyond measure. For he possesses what the poor in mind can never obtain, command over himself and the ability to command others. Here is where most men fail. They mistake material lack for impotence. They look at their empty pockets and whisper, "I am poor, I am powerless, I am weak." And in saying so, they give the world the very proof it seeks to exploit. Every predator, every opportunist, every rival smells fear as surely as a wolf smells blood. Your self-perception is the first line of defense against the world's assaults. If you present yourself as defeated, the world will treat you as such. If you present yourself as invincible, the world will hesitate to strike. This is the secret most fail to grasp, the power of perception over circumstance. Observe the masters of history, consider those who rose from nothing to command armies, to govern cities, to influence nations. None were defined by their material possessions, all were defined by how they projected themselves. They cultivated an image of authority and competence so precise, so convincing that men deferred to them, allies sought them, and enemies hesitated. They understood that the human mind responds to signals more than facts. To appear capable is often more effective than actually being capable, at least until your opportunity arrives to transform perception into reality. The strategy, therefore, is to master yourself first. Stand as though you are already where you wish to be. Speak as though your words carry weight. Move as though the world bends to your decisions. It is a performance, yes, but one rooted in discipline, in foresight, and in an unflinching commitment to control your own narrative. Every gesture, every word, every glance must reinforce the image of power. The world is mercilessly observant. It notices hesitation. It detects fear. It senses uncertainty. To eliminate poverty from your life, begin with the mind. Convince yourself first that you are not poor. Convince yourself first that you are capable, commanding, and worthy of respect. The world will follow. And there is another subtle but profound truth hidden here. When a man carries himself as if he is rich in power, in influence, in intellect, even his actual poverty becomes a tool. He uses perception as a shield, a weapon, a lever to open doors otherwise closed to those shackled by self-doubt. Men give respect where it is due, and often where it merely appears to be due. If you can project wealth of mind, strategy, and presence, the absence of coins is insignificant. The beggar who walks as a prince, who speaks as a general, who surveys the room as though he owns it, wields influence over kings who underestimate him. Machiavelli would insist that this is not deceit but necessity. Life is not just. Life is a battlefield where the weak are devoured and the shrewd survive. To survive, one must project what one wishes to command. Material poverty is merely one battlefield. The mind is another, far more crucial. Those who master perception have the advantage of controlling the first impression, steering negotiations, and shaping alliances even before resources are available. It is a form of invisible capital, infinitely more valuable than gold or land, for it cannot be stolen, taxed, or destroyed. Therefore, if you have nothing, do not cower. If your hands are empty, do not tremble. Begin by commanding your presence. Walk with the certainty of the powerful. Speak with the confidence of those who know men and fortune. Let every action signal to the world that you are a man of consequence. The world will respond to your signal, often before you acquire the resources you seem to possess. The perception of power is a force of nature, and those who wield it are never truly poor. There is a wealth far greater than gold, far more enduring than land, far more potent than armies, and yet it is possessed by few and coveted by many. This is the wealth of the mind, strategic, cunning, and unyielding. Machiavelli teaches that a man who understands men, circumstances, and opportunity wields a fortune invisible to the eye but tangible to the world. A pocket lined with coins can be stolen, a castle can be besieged, but a mind trained in strategy, foresight, and manipulation of events is untouchable. True poverty is not the absence of material possessions. It is the absence of intellect, vision, and the ability to act decisively. Consider this truth. A man with nothing but a sharp mind can command kings, negotiate treaties, and inspire armies. Conversely, a man with riches but a mind dulled by laziness, ignorance, or fear is enslaved by circumstance. He is at the mercy of fortune, vulnerable to betrayal, and blind to the currents of power that shape the world. Machiavelli would remind us that history is written not by the poor in mind, but by those who wield intellect as a weapon, knowledge of human nature, mastery of timing, and the ability to anticipate the desires and fears of others transform an apparently weak man into a formidable force. To cultivate such a mind, one must first abandon illusions of fairness. The world does not reward virtue, it rewards effectiveness. It is not enough to be honest, just, or well-meaning. A man must also be clever, decisive, and adaptable. Strategy is born of understanding the laws of power, the patterns of fortune, and the weaknesses of men. To act without strategy is to wander blindly into ruin. To act with strategy, even with nothing in one's hand, is to command respect and fear. Every decision, every conversation, every movement is an opportunity to shape reality, to bend circumstance toward one's advantage. Observe the masters of history and warfare. They rose not by the inheritance of riches but by the exercise of strategy. They studied men, observed behaviors, tested loyalties, and exploited weakness. They recognized that armies, titles, and wealth are instruments, not ends. The true power lies in knowing when to strike, when to retreat, and when to appear weak while preparing for strength. A man who possesses such a mind is never poor. He may sleep on the floor or dine on bread, yet he commands invisible armies, invisible treasures, and invisible influence. And yet, the cultivation of a strategic mind is not passive. It requires discipline, observation, and the relentless sharpening of one's faculties. It demands that a man constantly analyze, anticipate, and manipulate the world around him. It requires the courage to act when others hesitate, to risk when others retreat, and to feign weakness when it serves a greater purpose. Machiavelli emphasizes that men are judged by results, not intentions. The man who knows this, who calculates, plans, and executes with precision, wields a power that gold alone cannot buy. It is here that the distinction between real wealth and perceived wealth becomes crucial. Material possessions are fragile. They can be lost in a day, confiscated by rulers, or destroyed by misfortune. But the mind, once trained in strategy, is indestructible. Knowledge of human nature, the ability to foresee consequences, and the skill to manipulate events are capital that grows with use. Each encounter, each negotiation, each observation adds to this invisible treasury. A poor man in possessions may yet become a king in influence if he cultivates these abilities. Moreover, the strategic mind allows a man to create opportunities where none seem to exist. While others despair in scarcity, he sees the patterns of weakness and strength, the gaps in alliances, the unguarded openings where fortune can be seized. To the untrained eye, he may appear destitute or insignificant, but to those who understand the currents of power, he is a man to watch, a man whose influence is greater than any coin or sword. Machiavelli would insist that such vision is the greatest currency, for it can convert nothing into everything. The true lesson here is both simple and brutal. Never measure yourself by what you hold, but by what you command through intellect and strategy. Do not despair in the absence of wealth, for strategy transforms absence into advantage. Study the tendencies of men, observe the flow of fortune, and learn to anticipate the reactions of allies and enemies alike. Knowledge of this sort cannot be stolen, it cannot be destroyed, it cannot be taxed or taken by force. It is a wealth that grows stronger in adversity and shines brightest in times of scarcity. Finally, the strategic mind is a weapon against fear, the true paralytic of the powerless. When a man knows the ways of the world, when he understands the limitations and desires of those around him, fear loses its grip. He acts decisively because he perceives the consequences before they arrive. He does not tremble before poverty because he understands that the world can be manipulated, that influence can be exercised, and that even the poorest man in coins can wield a fortune invisible to all but the discerning. In this, Machiavelli's lesson is clear. The man who possesses the strategic mind is never truly poor. The world is governed by appearances, and men are deceived by what they see far more than by what is true. Machiavelli understood this with piercing clarity. Fortune can be turned, allies can be gained, enemies intimidated, and opportunities seized, not solely through strength or wealth, but through the careful manipulation of perception. To survive, to prosper, and to command respect, one must master the art of appearing powerful, even when one possesses little. Appearance is not deceit, it is strategy. It is the armor that shields the vulnerable and the sword that cuts through the unsuspecting. Consider the power of attire, posture, and speech. A man may be destitute, yet if he carries himself with dignity, dresses with attention, and speaks with the authority of a king, he will be treated as one of consequence. Conversely, a man with riches but poor posture, weak speech, and uncertain movements will be dismissed and undervalued. Humans judge the external before the internal. They respond to signals of competence and influence as if they were facts. Machiavelli would insist that to manipulate fortune, one must master these signals. The world will reward those who appear strong, even if the truth is otherwise. The manipulation of fortune through appearance begins with understanding the psychology of men. People are drawn to those who project confidence, decisiveness, and authority. They fear those who seem powerful, even if the power is only projected. They respect those who move with purpose and act with clarity. This is the invisible currency of influence, one that can open doors, create alliances, and protect the vulnerable from predation. A man who knows how to project power can turn scarcity into advantage, weakness into leverage, and misfortune into opportunity. Observe the great leaders, the rulers who rose from nothing to command empires. They understood the value of projection. Julius Caesar did not wait for Rome to grant him authority. He seized it through the deliberate construction of image, the careful cultivation of allies, and the meticulous display of power. Even in the midst of uncertainty, his presence commanded respect. He understood that appearances often dictate reality. The man who manipulates appearance can bend fortune to his will, shaping the perceptions of men so that they act in ways advantageous to him, regardless of his actual resources. To manipulate fortune effectively, one must master not only appearance, but timing. Machiavelli warns that those who appear strong at the wrong moment may provoke envy or resistance, while those who conceal strength until the proper time gain advantage. The illusion of weakness can be a powerful tool, luring rivals into overconfidence, setting traps, and creating openings for decisive action. Likewise, the careful display of power can intimidate adversaries, impress allies, and command respect. Those who understand the interplay between appearance and timing wield influence far beyond their material means. There is also a subtle interplay between speech and action. A man may own nothing, yet if his words carry authority and precision, he commands attention. Men respond to conviction, clarity, and presence. Machiavelli teaches that perception is a form of control. When a man controls how others perceive him, he controls their actions. Fortune, unpredictable and often cruel, becomes pliable in the hands of one who understands this principle. He can turn rejection into opportunity, poverty into leverage, and misfortune into a stage on which to demonstrate power. Appearance, however, is not mere superficiality. It is the reflection of discipline and self-mastery. A man who can project power consistently must possess inner control, calm under pressure, and strategic awareness. A trembling hand or hesitant voice betrays the most carefully constructed image. The world notices these cracks, and fortune punishes them. Therefore, the manipulation of appearance requires rigor. Posture must be deliberate, speech calculated, and gestures controlled. In cultivating these habits, one ensures that others are guided by perception, never by the faint hints of weakness or despair. Another aspect of manipulating fortune through appearance is the management of reputation. Machiavelli emphasizes that men will act according to what they believe of you, not according to your true character. A man who appears honorable, confident, and influential can create allies, intimidate rivals, and secure opportunities that his actual circumstances would deny him. Reputation, once established, becomes a force multiplier. It shapes behavior, opens doors, and imposes consequences on those who would challenge you. Appearance, therefore, is both a shield and a lever, amplifying influence beyond what mere possession could achieve. The strategic man understands that fortune is fickle. Gold can be stolen, allies can betray, and opportunities can vanish. Yet the projection of power is more enduring. It can bend the world to one's will, even in the absence of tangible resources. To manipulate fortune is to seize control of perception, to shape the reality of others, and to create conditions favorable to one's objectives. Machiavelli insists that those who master this principle are never truly powerless, even when the world has stripped them bare. In practical terms, every action becomes an instrument of appearance. Every encounter, every conversation, every gesture is an opportunity to manipulate perception. The destitute man who walks with certainty, speaks with precision, and observes with calculated attention wields a force invisible but potent. He turns misfortune into opportunity, adversity into a stage for influence, and scarcity into leverage. Fortune, which favors neither the timid nor the naive, bends to those who understand the subtle art of projecting power. The manipulation of appearance, carefully calculated and relentlessly maintained, ensures that even those with nothing are treated as though they possess everything. The greatest power a man can possess is invisible. It cannot be minted, stolen, or counted, yet it governs every outcome, shapes every relationship, and bends fortune to the one who commands it. This power is self-mastery. Machiavelli teaches that the man who controls himself, who bends his impulses, fears, and desires to reason and strategy, is wealthier than kings. Material possessions can vanish in a night, alliances can crumble, armies can be defeated. But the mind that is disciplined, the spirit that is unshakable, and the will that refuses to bow, is impervious to the vicissitudes of fortune. Consider the nature of resilience. Life, Machiavelli warns, is a battlefield, and misfortune strikes with neither warning nor mercy. The weak surrender at the first blow, crumble under insult, and retreat at adversity. They are defeated before their enemies even arrive because they have yielded the most critical territory, the mind. Yet the resilient man, the master of himself, endures. He assesses the storm, studies its patterns, and responds with calculation, not panic. He understands that despair is a choice, fear a tool, and patience a weapon. Self-mastery transforms every setback into a lesson, every insult into intelligence, and every obstacle into opportunity. Resilience is not born of comfort but forged in scarcity. When a man has nothing, he must look inward. He must find the wealth within that cannot be taxed, stolen, or destroyed. Machiavelli emphasizes that this internal treasury is more valuable than any estate. A man who has mastered himself carries an invisible advantage. He does not depend on the favor of kings or the charity of others. He does not succumb to envy, desire, or anxiety. He acts from reason, foresight, and strategic calculation. His mind, disciplined and alert, becomes his fortress, shielding him from the blows of fortune and enabling him to strike when the world least expects it. The connection between self-mastery and influence is profound. Men respond to those who are calm under pressure, composed in adversity, and decisive in action. A man who controls his emotions controls the reactions of others. He projects authority because he is not shaken by circumstance. His enemies hesitate because his demeanor signals confidence and foresight. His allies trust him because he exudes certainty and reliability. Machiavelli understood that leadership is a reflection of inner strength. To be resilient is to command respect, even in the absence of material wealth. For strength of spirit is always recognized by men of ambition and cunning. To cultivate self-mastery, one must confront the rawest truths about oneself. One must examine impulses, fears, and weaknesses without flinching. Machiavelli teaches that the mind is a weapon that must be honed relentlessly. Emotional control allows a man to respond strategically rather than react impulsively. Patience allows him to wait for the opportune moment rather than squander chances. Discipline ensures that every action, word, and gesture aligns with long-term advantage. A man who masters these elements transforms himself into a fortress that no poverty, insult, or misfortune can breach. Resilience also demands adaptability. Fortune is unpredictable, enemies relentless, and circumstances ever-changing. The rigid man breaks, the impatient man errs, but the adaptable man survives. He adjusts his strategies, recalibrates his goals, and navigates obstacles with precision. Self-mastery does not mean rigidity. It means awareness and command over one's mind and actions in all conditions. A man who can bend without breaking, who can endure without surrender, who can act decisively when opportunity arises, wields a currency more valuable than gold, the certainty that he can shape his fate regardless of circumstance. Moreover, self-mastery shields against the subtler poisons of life, envy, resentment, and despair. A man who has nothing may be tempted to measure himself against others, to envy their wealth or status. Machiavelli would warn that this is the trap of the weak-minded. True strength lies in controlling desire, assessing the situation rationally, and leveraging what is available. Resilience is not simply enduring misfortune, but converting it into advantage. The man who masters himself refuses to be a victim of circumstance. Instead, he becomes the architect of his destiny. Machiavelli understood that the truly powerful are not always those with armies or estates, but those with an unwavering internal command. Their presence alone can intimidate, their judgment alone can shape events, and their resolve alone can turn adversity into triumph. They carry a quiet authority that does not depend on recognition, wealth, or alliances. The poor in possessions may bow to kings, but the poor in spirit is enslaved to every minor misfortune. By contrast, the man of resilience, even with nothing, is free from the tyranny of circumstance, for he controls the one domain that cannot be taken from him himself. Finally, self-mastery enables foresight. A man disciplined in thought, emotion, and action perceives patterns, anticipates dangers, and identifies opportunities invisible to those ruled by fear or desire. He understands that patience can outmaneuver haste, and that calm calculation often overcomes brute force. He treats adversity as a teacher, poverty as a forge, and challenge as a proving ground. Machiavelli would insist that a man who cultivates such mastery commands more than respect. He commands influence, and in that influence lies a wealth far exceeding any coin, estate, or title. The truly wealthy man is not measured by what he holds, but by what he can endure and control. In the end, remember this: poverty is not defined by what sits in your hand, but by what resides in your mind, your presence, your discipline, and your strategy. The world does not measure a man by his possessions, it measures him by his perception, his cunning, his ability to bend fortune, and his mastery over himself. Those who believe they are powerless become powerless. Those who believe they are strong command attention, respect, and influence, even in the absence of gold, allies, or armies. Perception transforms circumstance. A man who projects strength, dignity, and authority shapes the world's response to him. Strategy turns scarcity into leverage, weakness into advantage, and absence into opportunity. Appearance bends fortune, creating opportunities that mere possession cannot. And self-mastery, the greatest currency of all, shields the mind, fortifies the spirit, and ensures that no adversity can claim dominion over a man who refuses to yield. Machiavelli teaches that true wealth is invisible but irresistible. It is the sum of intellect, discipline, patience, and foresight. It is the armor that protects, the weapon that conquers, and the force that elevates those whom fortune might otherwise abandon. He who understands these principles walks through life unshaken, unbowed, and unbroken. He is never poor, even when he owns nothing, for his mind, his presence, and his mastery render him richer than kings, untouchable by circumstance, and always in command of the world around him. The lesson is clear: do not measure yourself by your material state. Measure yourself by the wealth you cultivate in the only domain that truly matters, your mind. Project power, act strategically, manipulate perception, and master yourself, for in doing so, you wield a fortune that no misfortune can erode, a strength that no poverty can diminish, and a command that no circumstance can resist.